Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well on a Saturday, and thank you for joining Real Estate with Ryan. My name is Ryan Coleman, your host, along with my lovely co-host, April Coleman.
Good evening.
Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining Real Estate with Ryan. Busy Saturday, busy weekend real estate. We've got a good show for you. So let's see what we're talking about today. We're talking about 1031 exchanges, rules, and definitions as an investor. So you guys doing an investment, the market's pretty hot, strong out there. What are you doing with your money? You don't want to pay Uncle Sam. So if you're investing in real estate like we do, or have rental property, whether it's new construction, a combination of those methods, 1031, it's one of the best used tax codes out there for the investor. Yep, and so we're going to talk about that today. There's a lot of detail here and a lot of technical aspect of it. So we'll try to get into some of the basic overflows on that. If you want to get with us off the show, or if you're working on a 1031 now and need some help on that, understand we've got some great people that we work with and that could help walk you through that process and make sure you don't pay Uncle Sam any extra money. And so that's what the topic of our show. But we do have a little bit of real estate news and a little housekeeping issue. We'll get started before we get going with the show.
Yes, we just want to talk about some of our new listings that have just hit the market. 636 Rockwell Farms. You can find that. It's not yet on the MLS. It's out in Farragut in Rockwell Farms subdivision. Really nice home out there. It is an award-winning Parade of Homes Gold Medal winner. We have 205 Bob White Trail that's coming soon out in Sevierville. 1400 La Paloma Drive. It is out in 37923 area in West Knoxville. And then we have 6029 Loftus Creek in 37924 if you're looking in that area code. Nice house. And then 1200 Hearthstone is also in 37923. Nice subdivision out there.
Really nice subdivision.
It's a cute house.
So some real estate news just to keep you up to date with the U.S. existing home sales on the rise. Back in March, homes have increased 1.1 on a monthly basis back in March. The growth shows that the buyers are undeterred by the raising interest rates. We see U.S. home sales have exceeded on a monthly basis in March. It suggests that the market is obviously increasing. The National Association of Realtors said Monday that homes sold last month on a seasonally adjusted annual pace of 5.6 million, up from 5.54 million in February.
Wow.
Now the sales rate is a little bit higher than in 17, but the sales were down slightly over the last 12 months. The housing market continues to be the grip of the inventory crunch and the restriction in sales and growth of home ownership. Even though the overall economy has improved, there has been a 7.2 decline in listings from a year ago to 1.67 million in homes on the market. So I think you're seeing this is across the board in general, not just here in our market, West Coast, East Coast, certain parts of the Northwest, Northeast. You're seeing all types of market, obviously coming from a very cold winter. Some of the properties up north were affected. They're just now starting to pick up in their pace. So all those kind of get factored in. I got some good news, guys, or some news that interesting, I think. Interesting. You know our guys, Zillow. Anybody knows Zillow? That's a real estate giant, the syndication, where they take a lot of our listings that are brokers and kind of advertise them to the public and basically resell them to agents to buy leads. That's the business of them. But they are in the market of actually, let me just read this to you. Information came in last week that Zillow is thinking about purchasing, the company announced Thursday afternoon that they're looking at potentially flipping homes in the Phoenix and Las Vegas market. Press release that when Zillow buys a home, it will make the necessary repairs and updates and list it as quickly as possible.
That's interesting.
makes you wonder why and what they're doing, and but of course with their process. So keep that in mind. That Zillow may start deciding to flip homes or renovate homes.
Okay.
Surprisingly, the stock market didn't take well to that. I think they dropped 8% on that news. So keep that in mind. Just something to know. They're testing the Phoenix and Vegas markets.
Okay.
News of the week. So let's get started with our 1031 tax exchange. Why you need to do a tax exchange and kind of what's the basis of a tax exchange. Now our tax exchange is used very commonly. So a lot of when you're higher end commercial properties, residential properties, you're going to see a tax exchange come into play. And it's a way to get Uncle Sam out of your pocket. And so whether you're buying that rental property that you've owned for a long period of time and the gains have just increased, and an opportunity now that maybe you're taxed, but it's time to sell that property, but you still want to be in the business, 1031 is an opportunity. Let's say that you're renovating some homes like we do, or some customers that we have, and you're doing this on a long-term basis. Or let's say you're buying some multifamily, and you're selling some multifamily property, going to move up to a larger property. 1031 is a great opportunity. What it's going to allow you to do overall is purchase property by not paying capital gains. So if you're familiar with capital gains on the residential side, capital gains, with the new tax law that's out there, they're still allowing the exclusion for the married couple and the single couple.
Okay.
They'll hold me to it. I think it's $250 single, $500,000 if you're married.
Okay.
And so anything over that amount, you're going to pay capital gains. And so that's the actual gain on the actual your cost of your acquisition, improvements, etc., but your actual capital gain on the property, you're going to pay tax. So investment property across the board, you're going to have capital gains on anything that you buy. The 1031, it's called a like-kind exchange is really what it's conferred to. 1031 of the IRS code. To put it simply, it's a 1031 that allows the investor to defer paying capital gains on tax investment properties when it's sold with another like-kind property. If purchased, the profit gained by the sale of the first property, we'll get into more detail on that. But basically, you defer the tax. Now, this is a great opportunity to do compound interest, roll over your gains, to really, one day you're going to pay those taxes, but eventually you're going to accumulate that compounded interest, kind of that snowball effect that you would pay whatever the tax rate would be on your income to avoid. And so it allows you really to snowball and really grow your investment portfolio, really grow your investment at a higher rate, and kind of roll them down a lot better than your 401k or your Keogh or things like that. So with the banks and what they're paying interest rates, gives you an opportunity to easily compound your money. And when a market's competitive where we're at now, I mean, you just can't afford not to lose in the real estate market. If you can find a deal and to roll it over and have an opportunity to kind of compound that interest, 1031s are perfect.
Yeah, because who wants to lose money?
No, the goal of it, we don't want to give it Uncle Sam, keep more money. There's plenty of places for that to be.
If you got to give it all away.
No, so we're going to cover that on this program, the 1031, and there's 4 types of exchanges, and what we're going to talk about in those exchanges, and how you need to know those, and tips you need to know when doing one, why they're so important. So first and foremost, let's talk about the exchange and the overall concept of that 1031 tax exchange and whether it makes sense for you right now.
And who qualifies for that?
Who qualifies? Well, anybody that's out there investing in real estate or using this will qualify. There's certain rules and regulations. Obviously, we're not your tax advisor. We're not an attorney. Right. We've done a bunch of them. We've helped a lot of investors do those. First and foremost, you need a great agent involved working with those. Why it's important, because any detail that's missed, if you're not familiar with the 1031 tax exchange, if you're not aware of those rules, you may eventually cause gain on those by not using an intermediary, basically a qualified third person when you're tax exchange.
Now, an individual can't do this, like in their own name.
Sure they can. Sure they can. Yeah, okay. Sure. Either individual or your company name, all that can flow.
Okay.
You're gonna match those 1031s to make sense. The 1031 exchange rule requires that both the purchase price and the new loan amount be the same or higher of the replacement property.
Okay.
That's really the rules of the game there. And let's talk about the first one, simultaneous exchange. We'll get into this briefly before we come up into the break, and then we'll continue on this. But simultaneous close, the word says it all, right?
Right.
That means that basically you're going to close on the property the same day. It's important to know the exchange must occur on the same day with no delay. A short delay causing the wiring money or the title company not having things together may cause you to pay a little tax. We'll get into more of that exchange number one. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan, and we're going to catch you up on the other side of the break. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
We're live. Hey guys, thank you for staying with us. We're live, Real Estate with Ryan. We're doing show on 1031 tax exchanges today. How to get your money right. If you're investing in real estate, there's never been a better opportunity to do that. So you want to make sure that if you're doing so, you know these 4 exchanges. I know we don't talk about them a lot. With the new tax laws changing, not a lot has changed on 1031, so that's something important to keep in mind. We'll have more information on ryancoleman.org on this, and also put it out on social media. We'll have this show for you. And of course, if you need anything, feel free to call us at the office at 693-SOLD. We'll be back on set here in just a minute.
Is it time for a new place? Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty has the experience to sell your home quickly and help you find the right home for you. And if he can't sell it right away, he will buy it himself. Life changes, and sometimes your home needs do too. Buying or selling, turn to someone you know you can trust. Ryan Coleman at Hometown.
Thank you for staying with us, guys. You listen to Real Estate with Ryan. I am your host, and you're listening to us live here on News Talk 987. We're talking about 1031 tax exchanges and what you need to do if you're investing in real estate. If you ever need us, real estate questions, need help putting that house on the market, you're purchasing a home, or you're talking about our topic today on 1031 tax exchanges, our office number is 693-7653, or easy number to remember, 693-SOLD. So we'll get back into our topic number, simultaneous exchange. Anything that we were talking about that, but I think most importantly, if you'll catch us on the other side of the break, the swap must complete the 2-party trade where there's deeds. 3-party exchanges where accommodating party is used to facilitate the transaction, and simultaneous exchange with a qualified intermediary. It gets complicated. We get into the weeds, and by far, guys, we've got really great vendors and contacts, attorneys that do these things all the time. It's so important that if you're going to do one, that you got agents in your corner that's going to walk you through, and we got some great legal advice and some settlement companies. Keep in mind, so the big deal that you need to keep in mind with the 1031 is you can't touch the money in any aspect.
So you can't just have like a regular bank account that you put money in?
No, you can't do that. Because see, the IRS code will require that you can control it. Is if you could control it, it's your money, you can do what you need to do, then Uncle Sam wants some of your money. He's getting in your pockets.
So therefore you have to put it into a trusted account that you don't touch.
Yeah, and so really the purpose of the 1031 is, and the people that do that, there's very limited people that do these 1031s and do it well. Understanding that it's going in their trust account, and there's timelines depending on which one of these 4 1031s you're doing, and so we'll kind of go through those today and make sure you kind of understand those. But the simultaneous basically relates that you're going to close it the same day. There's a lot of challenges in the real estate market with that, so keep that in mind and understand that. Number 2, the delayed exchange.
This is the most common type.
You want to go into that one, April?
It's just pretty much when the exchanger relinquishes the original property before he acquires the replacement property. So, in other words, it's just he owns what is called the relinquished property, and it's transferred and exchange it for the replacement property. So that one you don't have to close on the same day.
No, and using this strategy, the investor has a maximum of 45 days to identify the property. Basically, guys, put the home under contract and 180 days to close on it. Why that's so important, that timing is everything, isn't it, in our business and everything that we do? So this is the most common that you use. Very, very important that we strict guidelines. The money's put in the account. We got 45 days to roll it over quickly. So what I would encourage my clients when we're working on a 1031, you know you're going to do a 1031, whether you're investing in that real estate property. Let's say it's that rental property you've had forever. The market's strong. You're in Farragut, you're in West Knoxville, it's time to cash out. Maybe you want something a little larger. Maybe you're buying something for your kids that's a good rental property, or whatever you're looking to do. If you're going to do one, very important that we have the language in the contract on the 1031, and we've got the protections there that if we don't abide by the timeline, that you will be protected, number one. So if you're going to be taxed on it, and make sure that the property owner, that there's not going to be any delays. I know that we do these on a consistent basis. When we do them, we're running title work ahead. We're going ahead to make sure that there's no liens, encumbrances, survey, encroachments, anything like that that could possibly delay the sale. Remember, this is just not your normal sale. If this deal doesn't work, depending on how many rollovers that could be in play, we could be dealing with a lot of tax consequence.
That's true.
So it's good to get with your CPA advisor regarding that. And of course, if that property is not going to make sense, we got to jump to another property, and there's a limited time for 45 days to actually put that property under contract.
Oh, wow.
And we got time to close once we go under contract. But that is, number 2 is your most common one.
Yes. And then number 3 is reverse exchange, also known as forward exchange.
So this one's a little bit different. You buy first, pay later.
Okay.
Isn't that neat? Now, see, what a reverse exchange is tricky, and usually they require all cash transactions.
Oh, yeah.
Most banks will not do reverse exchanges.
Okay.
They won't even offer loans. And the taxpayer must decide on whether the investment, the properties they acquire will be parked, I mean, basically held.
Okay.
A failure to close on the relinquished property during the 180 days may forfeit the exchange. Okay, so the keys to know about this: taxpayers have 45 days to identify the property, similar as our number 2 exchange. They have 45 days. The initial 45 days, the taxpayer has 135 days to complete the sale and close out the 1031 with the purchase of the replacement property.
So you have less time.
So that's tricky because it's a cash deal, and the banks won't get involved in that. They won't loan on that because there's some title issues and things like that. So keep that in mind. That's probably one reason, depending on some of the gains, if they're cash, that they're not choosing to elect number 3 on the reverse exchange. So that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind. And the tricky thing is it's parked. You really don't have much access to it during that period of time. And then the financing, because some of our exchanges are coming. If you have a $100,000 loan, you can carry another $100,000 loan. This one requires all cash, and is going to limit that.
So if you have cash, then you can go for that one. But
If you got the cash, you can make it work. But
That's right.
depending on the price range, there may be financial disadvantages of paying all cash. So
That's true.
keep that in mind. What do we got? Number 4. April?
Number 4 is construction improvement exchange, which allows the taxpayer to make improvements on the replacement property by using the exchange equity.
So we were talking about this one off air, and April and I were chatting about that. So what can we do? We've got that property we're going to purchase. It needs a little repair, needs a little work. Are we still able to do investment into the property? So the construction exchange allows taxpayers to make improvements on the replacement property by using equity, exchange equity. To put this into layman's terms, a taxpayer can use their tax-deferred dollars to enhance the replacement property while it is placed in the hand of a third party for the remainder of the 180 days. So basically, the third party is going to hold the title. See, the key on these 1031s, guys, is you can't control it, can't touch the money, because the third party is acting as that beneficiary, qualified person. And allowing them not to touch the property allows you to defer the taxes.
Right.
Now, on this construction improvement, it must be closed out within 180 days. The taxpayer must receive substantially the same property that they identified by the 45th day. So, going into that, let's say that the property is $100,000. You did a qualified 1031 on the other one at $100,000. But the new purchase is, let's just say round numbers, $50,000. So on 50 grand, it doesn't meet the following criteria of your last exchange, your rollover. But with the improvements, you can. So this actual, will go to the intermediary. You probably have to submit bills and invoices. Actually, you have to the trustee. They verify the work, probably take a couple pictures there. And then that money that is yours, but again, you can't touch it for the purpose of tax consequences regarding that. You're able to pull that money on a construction improvement exchange, and then that equal value, what they're saying basically by the 45th day, or when you close on this 1031, you can roll the money back into there. And so that's going to meet the requirement for the 1031 and would not void that.
Okay, that's a good one. I mean, if you want to go and make improvements, at least you're, not stuck not being able to make improvements. There is a way.
So guys, we're talking about what is a light kind property. Let's give a couple of examples. I don't know if we've got into, but exchange an apartment building for a duplex, that will be allowed. Okay. All right. Exchanging single family rental property for a commercial office building will be allowed. So you're moving up.
Okay.
And so they'll allow those. And I think the IRS has a big website on those items that will cover a lot of those. And of course, we'll have some articles on our website at ryancoleman.org that we can give you some information on that. And the exchanging rental property on a vacation rental for a restaurant space would be allowed. I wouldn't think that, but it actually falls into play.
Interesting.
Now, keep in mind the investment or business property only. Some 1031 exchanges will not get into the personal property. Keep in mind things like that is always greater or equal value regarding the 1031.
Yeah.
So hope that's been helpful for you today on Real Estate with Ryan. So keep in mind, just recapping on the 1031, like kind property, get with your CPA, get with your tax advisor. Have a great agent that's in your corner that's done these. Remember, there's a lot of money on the line. If you're doing these rollover, time is of the essence.
That's right.
Can't afford to not have the right agent in your corner. As always, you're listening to Real Estate with Ryan every Saturday, 5 o'clock here on News Talk 987 for your up-to-date information on the real estate market. 693-SOLD, 693-SOLD, or ryancoleman.org. Till next week, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for staying with us. That's Real Estate with Ryan. You're watching the live recorded show that we're going to air Saturday, 1031 tax exchanges. Got to get your money right. Got to get Uncle Sam out your pockets. And if you're investing in real estate, there's never a better investment. Real estate, over the period of 30, 40 years, you're seeing an investment. Even in the markets that we've seen on a down market, it couldn't be a better opportunity to invest. Long-term growth. Banks aren't paying what you need to pay exactly. Real estate properties, whether it's multifamily, single family, apartment building, getting into some quad or duplexes, really some great opportunity. Or if you did get into some construction or flipping or renovating, great opportunity, picking them up at a low cost. Defer your tax and have an opportunity to grow your gains, kind of snowball your equity there. Listen, you need anything in the market, think about putting your home on the market, you need an evaluation, check us out, ryancoleman.org. We know it's a process. The market's competitive. Finding that home is picking up. We had a lot of inventory hit the market last week, so keep that in mind. Values are on the increase. Do not check Zillow. Do not check Realtor.com. They're not real values. We got things that are off the market, pending, that we can give you the up-to-date information. Listen, we always want to give you your hometown experts and understand the backyard of what's going on in the Knoxville and surrounding areas, and we can bring that to you live every Saturday. You're catching us on News Talk 98.7. And if you need us off air, 693-SOLD or ryancoleman.org. Hope to talk to you guys next week. Thank you.